Welcome back to another episode of a series that I have foolishly titled Mario Kart 8 Hidden Details. Last time we looked at the Star Cup, which ended up being pretty interesting, but this time we're gonna move on to the Special Cup. Alright, time to do that. I hate this background so much. This is just some render I made for my channel banner. Then I made a new channel banner and didn't have anything for a background, and so it got recommissioned here. In here it has sat, a placeholder that just sort of became my background. But not anymore. I'm tired of being tiny on this giant desk. I'm gonna start recording where I ought to be recording. In the cafe! Pretty cool, right? Doesn't this espresso machine that I purchased look so good and high quality, like it was made by a competent 3D modeler? It should, it's real. And so is this mocha pot with the funny little Mario on it. Let's take a look at some Mario Kart tracks. The first track in the Special Cup is called Cloudtop Cruise. This track has a sort of Super Mario Galaxy 2 vibe with the clouds and the soundtrack and everything. You start off on a giant beanstalk before ramping onto some clouds. I love that there's a line in the middle of the cloud road. After that, you land aboard a neat little Bowser ship, whose propellers have been removed for maintenance, along with the back faces of the mast's geometry. Just ignore that. I love analyzing the architecture of structures like this. The implications of rooms and chambers is so much fun. And of course, the Bowser branded boxes, barrels, and cannons are cool too. Also, this ship has an anchor. Bowser, you do know aircrafts don't have anchors, right? There's this thing that makes stuff go down on its own. I don't know if Isaac Newton filled you in on that or not. Well, after that genius display of engineering, we head face first into a storm cloud. This is a really cool part of the race, but there isn't anything to talk about in terms of details. But there is something cool after you leave the cloud. This big stone block you land on has a mystery mark on it, and it actually appears that this whole vine is growing from within the block. Which is a mechanic in Mario Galaxy 2. I don't know, I'm sorry, I haven't played that game in so long. There are actually little stone mystery blocks scattered all over these floating islands in the distance. It would have been awesome if this track went across one of those islands at some point, but it's a cool little track nonetheless. Alright, now for a way cooler track, Bone Dry Dunes. Not to hurt anybody's feelings, but Cloudtop Cruise is for turbo nerds. This track is what we're looking for. It's not the most detailed, but it's got a real palpable culture and atmosphere that I just can't get enough of. I really like these stands that are selling cool little crafts and stuff, especially the cloth with the evil sun from Super Mario Bros. 3. And of course, the jars with the retro Mario sprite patterns are almost a step too far in detail. And this tarp on the wall of this cave has a Dry Bones head on it. That is seriously cool. This map has a very grounded terrestrial feel that I think some maps are just missing. It feels like a proper journey through a dry and dusty desert, covered with the carcasses of ancient beasts and scrappy villages housing a nomadic civilization of Shy Guys and Toads. And of course, upon finding these bones, which are bound to be of great archaeological significance, they were decorated and a racetrack was built through them. But come on, this is such a cool place to race through. I love the intricate detail on this Toad ship. Sadly, I wasn't able to find a model online to really fully explore it. Every time I see a track like this, it makes me wish Nintendo were able to expand more on these settings and cultures, something beyond a Mario Kart track. Well anyways, now for an even cooler map, Bowser's Castle. This is definitely on the higher end of detailed tracks. It's so grand and imposing, yet every corner of the map feels purposeful. Okay, let's begin at the starting line. You've definitely gone too far when your castle has spikes on it, and you're just flat out trolling when it has horns. The banners, the shield, the lava, the cannons, everything about this scene is telling you to go away. And that's your cue to go flying right in at unsafe speeds with no regard for you or your competitor's well-being. As soon as you enter this molten fortress, you're surrounded by some sick statues and patterns and all kinds of cool castle stuff. You've no doubt noticed the statue of Bowser pointing you in the right direction, but I've personally never cared to see what's over here on the left, which is good because there's nothing, but I guess this wooden door is kinda cool. If you follow the statue's directions, you're sent to a short U-shaped hallway, which upon driving through seems rather bland. But if you take a look at this inside wall, there's a neat little display thing going on. After that, we head into a massive chamber filled with lava and machinery, which would definitely be the name of Bowser's experimental nu metal deathcore band. These machines have got some cool details like pressure gauges and valves and stuff. And they even continue into areas that just aren't visible in-game. That's some real dedication on the part of the modelers. And of course there's this giant scary thing that I don't know what it is. Moving through this room, we get to an area that I only just realized is actually a prison. As you can see, there are all kinds of cells, as well as some cool boxes and chests and stuff. And of course, the locks have horns on them. But I mean, come on, Bowser clearly wasn't thinking about the logistics of this room. I'm sure the maintenance guys are going to be really happy to go down and work on the machines in the lava room. Not to mention, the machines are going to need constant maintenance from when the prisoners inevitably end their suffering by jumping over the railing. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have a joke like that. This is a Mario Kart video, dude, jeez. Moving on from that mess, we make it outside. I really like this part. It's this brief plunge into the night air before returning to your spiky industrial nightmare. And starring in this nightmare is a giant molten Bowser demon robot monster thing. Obviously this guy looks pretty cool. He's definitely on the cover of one of Lava and Machinery's albums. But let's take a look at the room he's in. This sorta looks like a prison too, but this time with a red and green color scheme, which is why this section is called the Christmas Chamber. Well, it probably is, I don't know. There's lots of details, but it's mostly stuff we've already seen before. After taking a stroll through the Christmas Chamber, you plummet into a horrifying inferno before being spit out over a lake of lava and landing safely on the little patch of rock you started at. Now do it again. This is no doubt the coolest track we're gonna see today. Sorry, Rainbow Road. Don't get me wrong, this is one cool track, but it's a little lacking compared to the last one. But that's no fair, let's give this track a chance. You start off in a— boring. Okay, really though, you start off in this big satellite space room place area with monitors and lights and all kinds of cool sci-fi shapes. Probably the most interesting thing here are the monitors, which each have some funny made-up little space diagram. One of them has this blooper shuttle that you can see floating around in the game. This time I was able to find a model, and this thing looks awesome. Then a bit of Space Noodles leads you to another ship thing, which has some more cool sci-fi stuff in it, like air conditioners. Plus this design on the outside looks like some kind of Sega Genesis controller D-pad. After that, it's mostly just more Space Noodles. Although there is this really cool hologram thing that only shows up in-game, but I can't seem to get a good look at it, dang it! But what do you see outside the track? Well, Earth. Specifically Italy. This could be a fun little nod towards Mario's Italian heritage, or possibly just a bit of coincidental texture tiling. At first I started freaking out about this giant eyeball in the clouds, but it's just a result of the previously mentioned texture tiling. Hopefully. Well, that's the Special Cup, the last of the original base game cups. Or something like that. It's the one that plays the credits after you complete it. We've still got something like 8 cups to look at, plus the battle courses. Anyways, I'll talk to you later. Thanks.